Hello and welcome to a very special Scale 500 news video, and a video that I have been wanting to make for many months. And I need to be careful what I'm saying because I'm not allowed to talk about all the things that I know, but there are some things that I am allowed to reveal to you right now, right here. And I do believe that this could mark a significant change in the Scale 500 world. But let's take the story from the beginning. A few months ago, I was contacted by a new company that is working on making new Scale 500 models. Yes, you've heard right. We have a new player on the Scale 500 market. The effectively monopoly of Herpa wings is about to be broken. And that is a very good thing for anyone collecting Scale 500. So who is this new company? What are their plans? And when can we expect to see something on the Scale 500 market? That is what I want to tell you in this video. And if there's ever been a time where it would be appropriate to use the term breaking news, well, it is right now. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Aether Model. And, well, if we look into the definition of the dictionary, what does Aether mean? Well, it is the ancient Greek personification of the clear upper air of the sky. And we are truly reaching for the highest flight levels here with this new Scale 500 company. Now, I have been talking with them for quite some while. We've had quite a few meetings back and forth. I've tried to give them as much feedback as possible so that they can have a good start in the market, because I think everyone collecting Scale 500 really knows and wants to see more competition on the market. It's not about getting one over Herpa. It's not about getting rid of Herpa. We still need Herpa and want Herpa to do well. I think that's always been the case for most, if not all, collectors. We want Herpa to do well, but we do want to see more competition, because competition is good for the market, and it's certainly good for collectors. So what are the plans of Aether Model? What can we expect from them? Now, the great news here is there will be a first batch of new Scale 500 models from Aether Model already this year, so 2025, and there is more planned for the coming year. I cannot reveal yet what they are working on in the coming release batches, but I can tell you what the first release batch will be and when we approximately can expect it. Now, obviously I can't say an exact date, because the models, and that I can reveal as well, are already in production. However, there can of course be many things happening from the moment now to the time when they are supposed to be released. But as far as I have been told, the plan is to have the models in stores, in Europe at least, probably around October. Again, this time can change, but that is at least the time they are aiming for at the moment. The first release batch will contain 3 aircraft models, all of the same aircraft type. The first aircraft type they will be featuring is the Boeing 787-9. Now, the first batch will contain 3 aircraft models, and as mentioned, they are already in production. And we even have some very first images from those aircraft in production. And sure, at first glimpse it doesn't tell you much, but I can reveal what airlines they will be. Now, the first airline featured in this batch will be Aether Air, the Taiwanese airline based in Taipei, flying with the 787-9 with a lovely livery, with the 787 edition in their standard livery. That's, in my opinion, a really cool airline to feature, and of course an airline that collectors have also been asking about for many years to be featured in Scale 500. The next aircraft model in this release batch will be the 787-9 of Korean Air. It will be the now old livery. Perhaps maybe sometime in the future we might get lucky and get the new livery featured. That I don't know yet. That's pure speculation. But for now, we will get a lovely Dreamliner with the now old standard livery of the airline. A livery that, of course, will still be featured for quite a few years in real life. So I think also here a very lovely addition to people's collections. And then the final aircraft in this release batch, well, that is the 787-9, which will feature the standard livery of North. So the Norwegian low-cost carrier flying across the world. Very, very cool. Also, again, an airline, sure, maybe a bit more niche airline compared to Korean Air and Eva Air, but also an airline that Scale 500 collectors have been asking Herpa for many years to finally feature in Scale 500. They haven't delivered, but Aether Model will be doing that in their very first batch. So now we have the news what the first 3 models of this new player in the Scale 500 market will be, but there is more news for you right here, right now, so stay tuned. Now, there are of course still many open questions regarding these models. For example, what will the boxes look like? Now, here I have also been talking with the people of Aether Model, and what they have been telling me is that, for example, one idea they have for their design of these boxes is if we look at what, for example, ANA models come in. They are of course exclusively sold in Japan, but these models have this box design here with images of the real aircraft and a lot of schematics and information on the boxes. Now, I don't think the box will look exactly like this, and I don't know, for example, if there will be a flap with then a cutout, but this is at least a design concept that they have been taking on as inspiration as to how their boxes should look like. What I can confirm is that there will be images of real aircraft on their boxes. I also can show you the images that they will be using for these first 3 models. They will also be adding images and logos and information on all sides of the boxes, so it doesn't matter how you are placing your box, wherever you're storing it, you should be able to see all the relevant information and have a nice looking box design in front of you. So that's really, really nice as well. What is also great news is that they are aiming to have the same size of boxes as Herpa wings, which of course again means when you are storing your models together with the Herpa wings models you already have, there should be no issues because the boxes will have the same size. Again, very nice thinking. But now let's get back to the models themselves, because there are still some open questions here, because what will they actually look like? What is Aether Model aiming for in terms of print detailing? And what they have been telling me here is that they have basically looked at, for example, the 787-9 Dreamliner in the standard livery of ANA, a model released from JC Wings some years ago. I have reviewed this model on my channel, so if you want to see that, you can check it out. I will leave a link to it in the video description below, or it should also be popping up in, well, one of the top corners right now. Because this is basically the level of detailing on the models that they are aiming for. Now, regarding detailing, when I was talking with Aether Model, I should also mention that there was a bit of back and forth about what kind of detailing should be on the model. They did send me the schematics of how they would imagine these models could look like, and then they asked for feedback if I maybe thought there could be something missing. I did tell them that I would like to see added some petrol tubes. The Dreamliner does in many cases have like 3 circular markings around the cockpit section, just very close to the cockpit windows on the side of the fuselage. And at least with 2 of these circles, I do believe there are petrol tubes, and I think the 3rd circle has something else. I did forward them this as a suggestion, something they could add. The response was they would talk with the factory, but I haven't really heard anything about if anything came about with that, if they managed to if it would be possible, basically. Now, I can also say that there will be no physical antennas, for good reasons, because physical antennas will just make the model more expensive. They will, however, add prints on top of the fuselage when there are antennas, for example, or sat domes or stuff like that. Physical sat domes, I actually don't know if they will be adding. I would imagine so, but that is something we will see when we get closer to release of the models. But in terms of physical antennas, no, that's not going to happen, but they will be adding prints instead. It looks, in my opinion, just as good, and it saves a lot of money in the production, and that is, for me, the right step. But of course, let me know in the comment section below what you do think about that. Would you have wished for physical antennas on these models, or are you happy like me with just having them indicated in the print? But since we are talking about, well, if we had physical antennas, it would add to the price of the model. That is, of course, perhaps the most important information about these models. Because, sure, we have a new Scale 500 manufacturer on the market. They are aiming to release models with a high degree of printed detailing. But what will these models cost? Now, when Herpa Wings releases models, they do always have an RRP, so a recommended retail price. That does not mean that retailers have to follow that price, but this is the price level that Herpa recommends their retailers to use when they're selling the models. Most retailers, with Herpa Wings models at least, do go quite a bit lower. Some stick to the exact RRP, but yeah, as you probably know, if you buy Scale 500 models, there is an RRP from Herpa Wings, but it doesn't necessarily mean that this is what we're seeing when we're buying our models at retailers. When JC Wings, for example, has been releasing very occasionally Scale 500 models, we never really have had any information regarding an RRP. We've just seen a price with the shops that actually got these models in their stores, but there was no communication from JC Wings ever about these models. So the prices that the retailers had, well, we didn't really know what the level was, whether above any RRP or below. No information there. But the good news is, with Aether Model, we do get an RRP. Of course, again, that can mean that there will be some retailers maybe going above, maybe someone below. I guess most will probably stay at the level that Aether Model has set, because it is a very fair price. In fact, it is unbelievably good, considering what we are getting with these models. And what the retail price is from Aether Model for these models, for all three, it's the same price. It's $35 US. That at today's exchange rate is about, I think, 32 euros and 13 cents. So somewhere between 32 and 33 euros for these models. That is more than 10 euros cheaper than currently the RRP from Herpa Wings for their wide bodies. So a fantastic price, super fair, and again, for what you're getting, just so far beyond what we have been plagued with in these last many years. So, as mentioned, there is so much more I would like to talk about right now and give you that, but I'm not allowed to talk about it just yet. But I can say that, of course, this is not the end. This is the beginning, and they do aim to have things coming out much more regularly than what we have seen in the past with, for example, JC Wings, that of course also very occasionally have dropped models here and there. This is a completely new company. They're just starting out. It will be very interesting to see how these first models will actually look like. I will be reviewing them here on the channel, so do keep an eye out for them. As I said, the expected delivery time will be around October, but we will, of course, see. I will follow it closely. If anything changes, if there's anything else I can talk about, if I get any other news that I can share with you, I will, of course, do so. So again, leave a like, do subscribe if you haven't yet, so you don't miss out on all that stuff. What do you think about the news of Aether Model making these 3 Dreamliners as their first batch in 2025? Let me know all your thoughts in the comment section below. And of course, as I mentioned, if you like this type of content, a like, a subscribe really helps out the channel so that I can bring you these type of videos also in the future. For now, that's all I had to say. I am super excited. Maybe one last thing I can say. Every time I've been talking with the lovely people from Aether Model, I, as a collector, have just been sitting behind my computer and have been so joyous, because all the things I have been talking about in the last many years, when I talked about these things with them. I had my checklist of all the things that I would love to see, and I could just tick them off one after one after one every time I talked with them. Now, of course, we will see if they can really deliver on that. That we don't know yet. I'm very optimistic, but we will see. But that's all I have for now. So with that, see you in another video here on the channel, hopefully very soon. I'm checking out, and bye. Damn, I am so excited for this.